everybody. Today I'm going to be reading you the movement story, The Painter and the Elves, which is my favorite one to do in class to talk about pathway. And in this story, you get to act out being the little elves who get to paint all sorts of pathways in this space. So whatever space you're in, whether it's your living room, your bedroom, in your yard, let's gear up to use our imaginations and have some fun. All right, so like I said, this story has to do with pathway, curvy, zigzag, and straight pathways in particular. And so let's go ahead and just, to get started, use our hand to paint a straight pathway in front of us. So we can paint side to side, horizontal lines. We can go up and down and paint some vertical lines. We can even paint some diagonal lines. Those are still straight lines. Yeah, great job. Now, this is kind of silly, but you know I like to be silly. We're going to use our heads to paint some curvy lines. It's a little different, but that's okay. All right, now try using your elbow to paint some zigzag lines. Really get your body in it. Have some fun. Good. All right, now in this story, like I said, you get to be little elves, and I shall be the painter for our purposes here today. Once upon a time, there was a painter who loved to paint, and I love to paint. She had many cans of paint of different colors spread out all over the floor of her room. She had red paint, blue paint, yellow paint, green paint, all colors of the rainbow. I want you to take a second to think about what your favorite color paint that you might find could be. What are some other colors of paint that might be here? Close your eyes and use your imagination to picture all sorts of different colors of paint. Good. All right, as our story continues. Every night before the painter went to bed, she put lids on the cans of her paint so that they wouldn't dry out. But one night she was so sleepy, so sleepy that she forgot to put the lids on her paint. Oh, that'll happen. So she quietly went to bed. And who might sneak out into the room that very night? But some little elves. That's you. Well, as the elves looked around and they saw those cans of paint, they were very, very, very excited. They could hardly contain their excitement. Each elf went over to a can of paint. They looked down on that paint color and they thought, ooh, this is mighty fine, and they wanted to try it out. So they took one hand and they stuck it inside the paint. As they pulled it out to look, it was beautiful and dripping. Next, the elves stuck their heads inside of the paint. Oh my goodness. They stuck their heads down and they got paint all over their hair. Then they stuck their elbows in the paint. Oh my. They sat down in the paint and did a little wiggle, 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 wiggle. Last of all, each elf actually jumped up and right into the can of paint. And they jumped and jumped and jumped and got paint all over their body from head to toe. Woo! Good thing we're using our imaginations. Then the elves had a wonderful idea. Let's paint the room and surprise the painter when she wakes up. So they jumped right out of their cans of paint and began skating straight pathways all over the room, painting it like stripes. Can you move through that space and paint some straight lines, straight pathways? Using your feet and your hand and even your head or your belly? Great job. They ran now in curvy pathways, painting letter S's, looking like snakes on the floor. Curvy pathways winding through the room. Great job. Think about and actually picture what color your paint is. Or have you chosen another color at this time? Find another can of paint and dip your hand in it and paint curvy pathways through the room. Good. Now, they thought, what about zigzag pathways? They're going to jump, jump, jump in zigzag pathways, splashing paint all over the floor, forming a zigzag line, making lightning bolt designs with their feet. Then the elves got right down on a low level and began to slither paint all over the floor with their tummies. And then on their backs, and even on their sides. They scooted designs with their bottoms. Straight pathways, curvy, zigzag. And finally, they took their elbows and their knees and dotted polka dots around just to add a little extra flair. "Hey," said one elf, "we almost forgot the ceiling." So the elves leapt up into the air and took paint and splattered it upon the ceiling, making beautiful polka dots of every color. And soon the morning sun began to rise, and the elves knew, we've made quite a mess in this painter's workshop. I sure hope she likes it. And as they snuck back away to their hiding places, the painter awoke in the morning. And she opened her eyes, and what did she find? Designs of all kinds, stripes that are straight and narrow, some were wide, curvy pathways, zigzag lines like lightning bolts through her room. Oh boy, she thought and said aloud to herself, I better remember to close the lids on my paint next time. For I know it must have been those sneaky little elves that got in here and painted my room. Well, at least it's nice and colorful now. Great job, everybody. I hope you enjoyed using your imagination with this story. It's super fun, and we will see you next time.